Okay, hello everybody. I'm Al, and this is.
Les Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy, and Al's pride and joy.
Okay, so we'll give everybody a few minutes to come on into the room. So today we want to talk about marketing and how to engineer a seven-figure speaking career. Les will tell you it's one thing to be able to speak on stage. It's another thing to earn a living and build an empire from the stage.
Yes, and we come at marketing from two different places. Now, he is that technical guy who has an extensive background in marketing and accomplishments and has done some incredible things, not only in terms of his own business, but all types of businesses and helping people to learn how to use and leverage marketing to impact their bottom line. Now, I'll come at it from a place of speaking and presenting and creating opportunities. I believe that Robert Schull was right when he said that there's never a shortage of money, just a shortage of ideas.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it takes marketing to make those ideas profitable. I know you often mention back in the day you had a better if you have a better mousetrap, the world beat a path to your door.
Yeah, the philosophy was if you build the best mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door.
Right.
That's gone now. The ball is in your court, because if you have good marketing that can be provided by Al and the others who understand this arena, the people will come to your door even if you don't have a mousetrap. In fact, we've seen that with iPhones where people set up camp 2 or 3 days in advance for a phone they've never seen a touch, but because of marketing. And I think what marketing does, there's an old saying, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink.
Right.
However, if you have good marketing, you can create a thirst where the horse wants to drink.
That's absolutely right. And I want to mention that because often that term or the joke of not even having a mousetrap can be taken the wrong way. And I want to remind everybody what we're really encouraging, what we're all about is ethical selling. Yes. Right? I often say that marketing is the quickest way to figure out if you're a rock star or if you're garbage. Right? And if a client calls me and says, I need you to do this marketing, and I put together this great marketing, but the end product is terrible and they don't follow through, well, marketing is going to amplify and speed up the process of them failing. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that your keynote and your back-end product and everything are top-notch. So we're not about marketing anything or an invisible mousetrap.
And that's a lot of that out there.
Absolutely.
I believe marketing also, from my perspective, is that impact drives income and sales and repeat sales. That when you make impact, when what you provide, the quality of what you provide, the standards that you hold yourself to, and you deliver, you under promise and over deliver on what it is you're providing for your customers, that to me is marketing. Because at the end of the day, people, because of your services, because of the standards of the quality of what you provide, will spread the word and start talking about you.
Right. I like Zig Ziglar often talks about ethical selling, and he gives a great story. And I'll kind of bring it to more modern times in terms of selling, because a lot of people are scared of selling. They think, oh, I don't want to be a salesman or a used car salesman. But there's an old story where this guy goes to the, we'll just call it Best Buy or some kind of store, and he doesn't know anything about it, but his daughter told him he needs a laptop. So he goes there and he buys a computer. And the salesman just says, okay, here's a computer, and there's a computer, there you go home. And so he buys a computer, goes home. And then his daughter's all happy, bought him a laptop, opens it up, realizes there's no CD drive.
Yes.
And his father says, well, I didn't even know you needed a CD drive. And now the father is upset because the salesman never identified what the need was. The salesman never said, well, what do you need it for? What are you going to do with the laptop? Maybe you need a CD drive, maybe you don't. And good ethical selling helps you identify those needs within your clients so you know what to deliver. It's not just selling them a laptop because they came in for a laptop. It's finding out what do they really need to empower their lives and then delivering on that.
That point that you're making is so real, because one of the things that helped me to become a six-figure speaker was I realized, based upon the coaching that I received from Mike Williams, who wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff. I wrote the forward for it. He's been my mentor for 49 years, that he was right. The speaking industry has been governed by the Dale Carnegie course, which is a good course. Yeah. And they teach, tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you told them. Mike Williams, his approach to me, he said, if you want to become a successful speaker and be known nationally and internationally. He said, you want to go in the other direction. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, they teach, tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them, and then tell them what you told them. He said, I'm going to teach you, never assume that you know what your audience wants to hear. Yeah. Take the time to gain information, to conduct communications intelligence. And that has been so important. Asking them. I never forget, I spoke for a company with Buffini and Associates, one of the top real estate companies in the world. And Brian Buffini, when he received a needs assessment, asking questions from him as the CEO, what is it that you want my presentation to address? And then I interviewed his top performers. He was so blown away at the end of my presentation, and they have a theme that says, oh, by the way, we're never too busy for referrals. And that's how I ended my presentation. I turned around about to walk off stage, just, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for referrals. He was so moved. He says, listen, he said, how many speaking engagements do you have for the rest of the year? I said, I don't know. He said, I want all of them. I'll write a check for it. I want every speaking engagement that you have available.
Right.
Because he was so moved. I don't know anybody that ever had that happen to them before. But if you, to me, hold yourself to higher standards so that your customers are spreading the word about you, then the challenges of adopting a marketing strategy that can work for you, that will attract customers and repeat customers and referrals, just unlimited.
And you bring up an important point about preparation. Often as entrepreneurs, we just want to go, and we don't prepare. We're too busy being, creating action and making moves. But I'm reminded of a test I did in high school, where the teacher passed out the test, and she said, as they always do, read the questions before, and then everybody's, they read one or two, or maybe they read halfway and they realize time's ticking, it takes too long, forget it, I'm just going to start answering. So they start answering the questions, and finally we get to the last question. The last question says, just write your name and hand it in, don't fill anything out. And you realize you filled the entire test out because you were too focused on acting and not preparing that you missed the whole point of the test.
Yes, I like that one, that's clever.
So let's dive in. I want to bring up a few very important points that I teach a lot in marketing, and typically in an audience, I would ask the audience, how many ways is there to grow a business? So what do you guys think? How many ways is there to grow an audience or a business? So we see answers anywhere from 2, 5, 100, a million, unlimited ways to grow your business. I feel bad. It's a bit of a trick question. There's actually only 3 ways to grow any business, and when you simplify it, it makes the entire process less daunting, right? There's a saying, you got to try and get your business from daunting to doable.
Yes.
Right? So there's 3 ways. So what are they? Number 1, you can get more clients. So whether that's speaking engagements or clients buying your online programs or whatnot. So more clients, that's number 1.
Yes.
The second way is you can get more clients buying more often. So let's just say you have 1 speaking gig a year.
Yes.
Without increasing the amount of clients, you can get them to maybe book you twice.
Yes.
Okay. And the third way to grow your business is to get them to buy more each time. So you add more clients.
Yes.
You get them to purchase more often, and you get them to purchase more each time. Okay. That's how you get geometric growth within your business. Now, most businesses only focus on one way. They're only focused on getting more clients.
Yes.
But here's the thing. In most businesses, that doesn't scale. Okay? If all you're ever trying to do is get more clients, and then it's going to cost you more in overhead, it's going to take you more time, and if you're trading time for money, or maybe you can only travel to so many cities in a year, and if you're only measuring how many gigs you have per year, you're going to tap out. There's going to be a point where you can't anymore.
Okay, so what you're saying is that rather than treating people like a transaction and trying to get more transactions and more transactions, you take that customer and you build on that relationship.
That's correct.
And expand that relationship.
Right.
Create more value, and then you're going to have more opportunities.
That's correct. And if you can add, let's just say 20% more clients, but you're also getting 20% more bookings of the same clients, and they're paying you 20% more, then now you've got real quantum growth. You're really growing geometrically rather than just trying to slug it out with the next speaking gig and the next speaking gig. What's important to remember here, though, and that's what we started off the conversation with. In order to charge more
Yes.
and to get them to purchase more often, the value has to be there. You have
Yes.
to be delivering and over delivering on those agreements.
Absolutely. Operating out of the thinking of Henry David Thoreau, who said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there's no path and leave a trail. So you have to ask yourself, what is it about you, about your business, about your service, about who you are that stands out in the marketplace where you can call attention to yourself, that people will want to do business with you? How important is it that people are able to make themselves stand out in the marketplace and create a reputation and a demand for who they are?
It's not like important. It seems like a disservice because that's just how powerful it is, and that's a perfect segue into the next point, which is strategy of preeminence. You need to be someone, right? I remember.
You say you need to be someone.
You need to be someone.
So how do you establish yourself as being someone if you just cornbread like me?
Well, we all have stories that you
Yes.
can definitely build around. But what's important to know, and we get the odd request or the odd person who says, "Well, I don't have the money to start a radio campaign to become known." But the truth is, we all have mobile devices in our
Yes.
pockets, and we can all become media companies in our own right. But the thing is some people are trying to become someone by copying someone.
Yes.
But that's not how you become someone.
No.
That's just how you duplicate something, and odds are you'll never be able to duplicate as good as they are. You're just
Yes.
a copycat, right? I used to tell my clients who say, "Oh, my competitors are trying to copy everything I'm doing," and the goal is to create faster than they can copy, right? So when you're in business and you got competitors on your tail, you just got to keep creating. You don't want to look backwards at the copycats. You just want
Right.
to move forward. Well, when you're trying to build your own identity, you have to build that from scratch. You got to go in your history and the stories, your experiences, and create that individual, not copy one.
Yeah. Well, I also think that what's major is your mindset.
Right.
I remember when I was struggling early on, starting out as a speaker, and I just could not see for a long period of time that customers who had a choice between me and people with PhDs and MBAs and years of corporate experience I did not have, that they would reach over them and hire me. And I was reading a book called Winning Through Intimidation by a guy named Robert Ringer, and there's a chapter in the book, small chapter, but it created a shift in my thinking. He said that you have to practice what he called the leapfrog theory. I said, the leapfrog theory? I said, what do you mean by that? Where you decide, I'm the one.
Right.
And so one of the major keys to being effective in building and growing your business, you've got to be sold yourself. You've got to be sold on you. Right. To the degree that I found that I believed in me, and that belief also came into my speaking and how I approached the industry, how I approached an audience, and how I showed up when I made a presentation. My audience began to grow because people saw the difference in me.
Right.
Because now the messenger is congruent with the message. And you have an audience of clients, there are people that's a part of your tribe, there are people that because of something about you, your energy signature, that as a result of your presenting yourself to the planet, you're going to attract those people who mindset and who want what it is that you have.
I love that, and that's hitting the nail on the head. Is not only knowing who you are, but knowing what you bring to the table.
Yes.
In our last Master the Mic event, I talked about while we were doing the marketing segment, first you get paid for what you do, and then you get paid for who you are.
Yes.
Right, and that's where becoming a character, an identity, and formulating that preeminence is important.
Now that's a major piece. Don't gloss over that, because when you think there are a lot of singers, but everybody don't get paid the same. There are a lot of speakers, and everybody don't get paid the same. And I remember when I used to get a love offering at church for $50 or $100, which showed they didn't love you very much. Okay. So when I got my first $5,000 check, oh man, I was so shocked that somebody would pay me $5,000 to speak for them. And so your value grows as you grow. That is something Earl Nightingale said. He said that you don't get life what you want, you get in life what you are.
Right.
So putting yourself on a track, a path of continuously growing in terms of your knowledge, in terms of your abilities, your experience, your skill set, that mindset and your skill set, those things come together.
Right.
And continuously going to the next level. Always, as Robert Schuller once said, peak to peak, that you PEAK, so you can PEEK.
Right.
Peak to peak.
Right. I love that, and I think especially today, far too many people are their own worst enemies rather than their own highest advocates and biggest Raven fans. You've got to be your biggest Raven fan. In the morning, it's like, hey, hello, good morning, here I am. Not, oh crap, another day.
Yes.
I like Zig Ziglar used to say, you know, he believed in himself so much. He'd say, if his wife ever left him, he was going with her.
Yeah. Yeah. Willie Jolly also says that. But the other thing is that when you look at your business, look at how is it that you can make your mark and draw attention to yourself. One of the things that I found that was very helpful to me is being flexible, being creative, but also asking for help.
Right.
You know, that because there are some things that you do well, some things you don't do well. So I started looking at asking for help. I used to have a talk show, and I remember one of my guests said, ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong.
Right.
And ask for help and don't stop until you get it. And so I started asking for help from people who had skills and knowledge that I did not have. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough out of Atlanta said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. So surrounding yourself with people that have that expertise, that have the knowledge. And the exciting thing is, because of the global world, the world is so small now, you can hire people from around the planet for pennies on the dollar compared to when we just had a domestic economy.
Yeah.
There are people out there with knowledge and skills in other countries who are accustomed to making $15 or $20 a month. Will say, yes, I got an MBA, I would love to work for you. And I found that to be that the knowledge out here, knowledge is the new currency. And people with skills that can help you grow your business, it's unbelievable. It's easier now to have access to those people in the world.
Absolutely, and I do want to really emphasize that knowledge alone is not quite enough, right? Because we do know a lot of PhDs that are driving taxi cabs. You've got to put, you know, your feet on the ground, and you got to put in the work. To summarize everything we kind of just discussed, it's the difference between being resourceful as a entrepreneur, as a speaker, or thinking with a restrictive mindset and I can't do this, you know, woe is me. You've got to be willing to hit the streets and work for your dreams and be resourceful and find a way. If you are the one, there is a way to make it happen.
Being relentless and coming back again and again and again. Why? Because even a broke clock is right twice a day. And so I really believe that you fail your way to success. Walt Disney, he filed bankruptcy 7 times and had 2 nervous breakdowns. Chrysler, Walter P. Chrysler, he failed 41 times in the automobile industry. So most people feel that, you know, if you just do this, and things work out. It's not like that. It's a process. And I encourage you to be willing to have the perseverance, the guts, and the determination, because this is something that you love, that you stay the course.
So someone's asking, so what do you do when it seems like everybody's doing the same thing? And one thing you have to remember is that you don't want to be a blockbuster.
Yes.
You don't want to be, you know, take a look at Uber. They're the largest taxi cab company in the world, and they don't own a single cab. I mean, things are changing with the automated vehicles and whatnot. Or Airbnb, who's the largest lodging, hotel type business in the world, and they don't own a single hotel room. The world is changing, and you have to remember that innovation is key to breaking through and coming out.
Let me tell you something, man. I got a call from a friend of mine named Vijay, and he said, Les, I want you to see something. And he sent me a link. And what they did, they took videos of me speaking on YouTube, and he told me to take a picture of myself, face on the right side, left side, and front. And just like you can say, Siri, I need you to give me some information. They have created technology where you can say, Les, I need you to tell me what does it take to become motivated. And in my voice, in a hologram they've created, you see me and you hear me answer the questions. I said, this is spooky.
So now every morning while we're brushing our teeth, we can have you talking to us to get us ready for the day.
I mean, we're living in an incredible time in history, because this hologram, this technology, when I'm gone, my children and my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren will be able to still see the work that I'm doing.
Right.
And so we have to always look at, there's a new book called The End of Work, because of technology, because of robots and various types of artificial intelligence. The way we've been working, that day is going to be in the past.
Right.
The things are evolving, and I remember as a kid that girls used to say, I want to be an operator when I grow up. Well, now they don't need operators. They have a voice response technology that will answer questions. What number, please?
Right.
So today you have to stay ahead of the game. This is the era of what Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. So things are changing rapidly, which means that we have to change rapidly, that we have to evolve and continue to look for ways in which we can create the next greatest version of ourselves.
Right. So to answer your question, how can we innovate? Well, you can innovate in a variety of ways. And I'll give you a tangible example. I used to own a fitness studio, and I was trying to think of ways we could innovate the weight loss industry. And there's not a whole lot you can do. I mean, exercise is exercise. A push-up's a push-up, right? Healthy food or Coca-Cola, it's not that complicated. So I was struggling to find a way to innovate that. So what I did is I innovated. Well, I had already innovated the way we marketed, so that was a great advantage, but people copy and catch up. So the next thing is I innovated how we priced it. Right? So we were doing these weight loss contests, and everybody was doing them now. Everybody was charging $100, $200, whatever, for a 12-week weight loss challenge. And it was losing its fizzle, because you can get the similar weight loss challenge anywhere, right? And before, it was just paid by the month, and nobody was doing the challenges. It was great. So I thought, okay, I'm going to flip it on its head. We changed it so that we were now offering 6-week weight loss programs, and they were paying us, it was 3 times the price. They were paying $350 for 6 weeks. But rather than worry about the price, I said, listen, here's the goal. We're going to lose 20 pounds in those, say, 6 weeks. If you hit your goal, I'm going to give you 100% of your money back.
Wow.
So we innovated the way we price. Okay? And if you look at statistics, or if you've gone on a weight loss program before, you know that there's a high enough failure rate.
Yeah.
And it's not to take advantage of that, because the ones who actually did reach their goal, they legitimately got their money back. So they were happy beyond belief.
But the majority of people did not keep their commitment to their commitment.
That is correct. So that's how we
so
built
you
our
attract
business.
a lot of people who say, "Oh, you mean tell me if I lose that amount of money, I get some money back?"
That's right.
Being creative.
Not just some, all of it. Right.
All of it.
All of it. What we did is we had a big check presentation.
Yes.
So when we take a picture with the checks, we gave your check back, and that in itself was marketing that built up, and it was social proof that the program worked, because people lost weight. The program was real because they got their money back.
Yes.
And we still made enough of those who, for whatever reason, fell off the wagon, that we were able to support our business and pay our staff and so on. So we innovated the way we price. You can innovate the way you market. You can innovate the way you talk. I mean, how many singers now, they make sure they have a specific voice. And there's actually been legal battles where if your voice is too much like my voice, they actually go into a legal battle. It happened. Yeah, it happened with shoot, I'm drawing a blank here, DMX and another gentleman, where he had the same kind of coarse voice, and somebody sounded too much like him, and they went into a legal battle. Because they're trying to innovate little areas where you can. So maybe it's the way you price, maybe it's the way you deliver your coaching programs, maybe it's the way you tell stories. Maybe it's your hair. Who knows? There's ways to innovate in a variety of things, and the beauty of innovation is that, I mean, literally in its definition, I can't give you the answer of how to innovate, because it wouldn't be an innovation.
Right.
So you need to, put pen to paper and think of how can you get outside the box.
Somebody asked a question. From my years of being an entrepreneur and speaking to corporations and entrepreneurs around the world, what is the number one quality that I've recognized? And here's what I've recognized. They did a study with some 3,000 top achievers, entrepreneurs, millionaires, people from around the world, and they were looking for that common denominator that allowed them to succeed above all the rest. Yeah. Here's what they discovered. 85% of them reached their goals and were successful because of their attitude.
Right.
15% because of their aptitude. Your mindset, because 90% of the businesses that start out fail the first year. So that willingness to come back again and again and again, that willingness that says, and I said this to myself when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I'm a 27-year cancer conqueror because of God's grace and mercy. And I remember going through a lot of pain and discomfort and saying to myself, no matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. This is not going to get the best of me. Yeah. And so believing in yourself, having a ritual, a program that you help to fortify your belief in yourself, that you go from believing to knowing that you're going to make it. It's like a basketball game. You see players, they'll shoot the basket and start going down court because they know it's going to be all net. That's going to be going in.
Yeah, it's the old walk-off. And that's a powerful thing, because none of the marketing strategies we can really teach you matter if you don't have the willpower and just that mindset to stay the course. Because we can give you the multi-million-dollar golden ticket idea, but regardless, there's going to be obstacles, speed bumps. People are going to try and knock you off your horse. It could be people that are in the room with you right now that are going to be the ones holding you back. But you need to be able to stay the course and go around or over or right through those obstacles.
You know, I remember my office, the first one I had was in Detroit, Michigan on the 21st floor. 7 is my lucky number, so I was very excited about getting this office. 3 times 7 is 21. And I fell on some tough times. I was bathing in the sink down the hall at the Penobscot building, and Larry DeAngie and my cousin Boo, we would, when the janitorial staff came in to clean the office, we would hide in the closet. And one night, a new guy opened up the closet door, and there we were in our underwear. And I looked up and said, "It's not what you think, big boy." But they said, during the good times, you put it in your pocket. The tough times, you put it in your heart. And even though we were facing some tough times, it never crossed my mind to quit, because I had burnt the bridge. I said to my mother, "Mama, I'm going to become successful." My mother was suffering from breast cancer. And I said, "I'm going to earn enough money as a motivational speaker, and I'm going to take care of all your medical needs." And she said, "A motivational speaker? Are you a preacher?" I said, "No, ma'am." I said, "Well, I'm a speaker." She said, "What are you going to talk about?" I said, "Mama," I don't know for sure, but I talk to people about living their dreams." She said, "Boy, you need to sit your behind down." But she became proud of me because I was successful. But at the time, I didn't think I could do it. But I just decided that Mike Williams, who was my mentor, who said, "Brownie, you can do this." And I realized sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. Right. And the point I want to make, you're going to have some disappointments, you're going to have some setbacks, you're going to make some big mistakes, you're going to lose a lot of money, things are going to happen that you just cannot anticipate. A guy named Dimples had a song years ago called "If It Ain't One Thing, It's Another." And I'm saying to you that you can make it, that you have to decide that no matter how bad it is or how bad it is, how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. You have to challenge yourself and push yourself.
I guess you can say back in the day you innovated room and board.
Yes. Oh, yes. I was touring and sleeping on a lot of my friends' couches. And they always remind me when I go back to the city, "Hey, do you remember this couch over here?" Yes, I do. But it's okay, because I was determined not to stop. Everyone said there's no way that you're going to be able to speak for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, General Electric. You have no corporate experience. You have no college training. You're labeled educable, mentally retarded at school. There's no way. Here's something I realized in life. you've got to become intelligently ignorant. According to the laws of aerodynamics, a bumblebee isn't supposed to fly. It cannot be held up by its little puny wings, some people say, but the bumblebee doesn't know it. You've got to become intelligently ignorant. You don't know what you can't do. So challenge yourself, stretch yourself, reach beyond your comfort zone, because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been.
Beautiful. One thing that we've really been building up in our own businesses is understanding that a business should be a Parthenon and not a diving board.
What do you mean by that?
So
Parthenon.
So a Parthenon. Let's do the diving board first. Everybody knows what a diving board is,
Yes.
right? There's one pillar and then a plank. Well, picture your business is that plank, and the pillar that's holding the entire plank up is your revenue stream.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what happens is if all of your revenue is coming from one source, let's just say one client or one speaking engagement or one type of service you offer, if for whatever reason that gets wiped out, the entire plank falls.
Yes.
If you had a business that was built like a Parthenon, which has stood the test of time through wars and different types of weather conditions and everything, and it's still standing strong, and the reason is that Parthenon has multiple pillars holding it up.
You know, Warren Buffett backs it up. He said in order to become successful, they ask him, why is it that he's successful in his investments? He said he invests in things that have sustainable competitive advantage.
Yeah.
It's sustainable, it's durable,
Right.
it's lasting.
That's right, yeah. And what happens is the more of these pillars you can have in your business, especially pillars that you don't have to be directly involved with,
Yes.
the easier you sleep at night. When
Right.
you've got one revenue stream and you're watching the news and something's coming for you, you have a hard time sleeping at night.
That's why I started the Les Brown Speakers Bureau, because it's better to have 25% of 100 speakers than 100% of myself.
That's right. And you sleep like a baby now.
Yes, indeed. And I can say, no, I don't want to do that.
That's
Yes.
right. And another big advantage with the Speakers Bureau and a lot of assets that we recommend you try and build is what you said, is having these revenue streams that are built around systems that don't require your intervention.
Yeah.
If you always have to be there, then it's hard to take that month away with the family or take time away for medical reasons or just because you're going to focus on a different project, right? If you spend all your time on a new project, projects behind you fall apart.
Yes.
But you got to put systems in place to keep those machines running.
That's why I enjoy working with Al. He's a systems person. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there's no secret to success. Did you hear me? There's no secret to success. There's a system. And when you have someone who has that knowledge and that's who they are and that's what they do, that's their lane, that's their power, you want to incorporate them in the scheme of your dream because you can make more things happen. And I find that because of your knowledge and skills and systematic thinking, that I'm able to do far more than I've ever done before in all the years I've done, to take a fraction of the time to surpass that because of systems.
And the beauty of it is that's how you build a real business that can get passed down, right? If you are the business and you
Yes.
can no longer speak, or at the end of your life you have nothing to pass down when you're no longer on stage, right? So by building that business, you have something for your children and grandchildren that passes down.
Ray Kroc proved that with McDonald's.
That's right.
He systemized somebody else's idea.
Absolutely, and we're going to talk about McDonald's a little bit later on.
Oh, okay.
So one of those systems that you want to build into your business is follow-up systems. How many of you have received a magazine or seen an advertisement and thought, I want that? There's an ad for something, you genuinely want to purchase it, but life gets in the way. You put the magazine down, you forget about it, and because they don't have a system to contact you again, you never make the purchase, even though you wanted it.
Yes.
Sometimes when you're on stage, you collect leads for a certain service, and those are people that raised their hand and said, I want that service. But just because they didn't call you and follow you up, life gets in the way, right? You need to build a system that's going to follow up, reach out with them a week later, the next day, a month later, 6 months later. There's a joke that says you follow up until you die, right? That means you never stop following up.
That's true. Because no today does not mean there'll be a no tomorrow.
That
It
is
could be a
correct.
yes tomorrow. People could be in a different place, change their minds. Something else has come up and say, you know what? That sounds like a great idea.
Right, and maybe they're just saying yes because they're tired of saying no.
That's true. Now that is true. Listen, I have a friend. She stutters real bad,
Yeah.
and she sells, and she's the number one salesperson at her company. And Yvonne, when she comes in, she said, "I'd like to tell you about the product that I have." And she goes through her presentation like this, and the person said, "Well, I'm not interested." She said, "Well, let me explain to you again." They said, "No, that's okay, I'll buy it." So she, because I asked her, "So why don't you take therapy so you can learn how to overcome your stuttering?" She said, "No, I'm doing quite well."
But she could use that as a tool.
Yes, she's using it as a tool. And so being persistent, finding a way to win, having the mindset that I have the goods,
Yeah.
that you own this space, that's major, that you own this space, that this is who you are. You take no prisoners and eat the wounded.
And that's a good example of building an identity around who you are,
Yes.
but also innovating speech and
Yes.
taking it to your advantage, and not the victim mentality. That's not going to get you anywhere.
No, and especially now, because there's no such thing as job security. According to the Department of Labor, over 20,000 people are losing their jobs every day, and it's going to accelerate. Millions of people are going to be displaced because of robots and artificial intelligence. And so this is a time, a really incredible time, that you have to have a larger vision of yourself. And we're going to go through some recessions, but recessions restores resourcefulness.
Right.
This is a time to become resourceful, to be imaginative, to create collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, to look at new game plans and strategies that you can implement that will allow you to have the competitive edge in the marketplace.
And not only that, though, I think we're living in a time where more and more people are feeling lost. And
Yes.
I don't know about hopeless, it's a bit strong, but definitely less hopeful than they maybe feel or they should be.
You know, Alvin Toffler wrote a book called Future Shock, and he talked about the fact that when we go from we went from an agricultural economy, and then we went into the era of where things were more mechanized, and then we went into information, and now in this computer age, that people are going to be in a state of shock because it changed so quickly.
Right.
But we don't have the luxury of staying in shock long, because people who stay in shock real long have skinny children. You got to snap out of it and get yourself together up in here, up in here.
So we've been we've been talking a lot about building systems and having a Parthenon type business. But a lot of people, and I just saw the comment from one lady, a lot of people are struggling because they're not getting paid to speak. So can you talk to me about speaking for free and how to earn an income if you're not speaking paid?
You know, I made my first million within 3 years speaking free. And let me share this. Guess where I got my topics from? People say, "How do you know what to speak on?" I would go to the drugstore and I looked at the topics on the cover of magazines. Why? They do focus groups to determine what are the topics that people would be motivated, inspired when they get up to the cash register. You notice the store is wide open, but when you get to the cash register,
you funnel you.
it's a funnel, and now you look at the things around you, and so they create topics that's an impulse that they know
Right.
that people are interested in because of the focus groups that they have talked to and evaluated, and I use those topics to have as the topics for my seminars, and people attended, and that worked because I didn't have the money to pay for a focus group. They didn't even know how to conduct one. But the other thing is that in order to get paid for what it is you do, you have to, there are certain people in the audience, some people want to be informed. They're looking for some information. There's some people that want to be motivated.
Right.
Okay, and then there are some people that want to be inspired, and not just motivated, inspired, but the other group is some just want to laugh. And so you've got to have a presentation that's entertaining, that's motivating, and that will allow people to laugh and feel good about themselves. And as a result of creating that kind of experience, not information, because they can Google the information.
Right.
If information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. The reason that people pay more money is because of the experience that you're able to create for them with your story, with your message, with your information. And as a result of my mastering my story and in creating value for the audience and making my story their story, then as a result of that, I was able to commit to increase the demand and request of me as a speaker. And the greater the demand, the more you can increase your fees.
That's powerful, and what's important there is in marketing we call that a loss leader. It's knowing that upfront what you're doing, whether it's selling something or speaking or whatnot, may not be a big money item, but understanding the value of that to create back end. And we're going to talk a little bit more about back end products in a little bit. Another really important point you brought up when you were going through, when you mentioned going through the magazine topics, is what Les was doing is he understood the 3 keys to marketing, and that's knowing your audience, understanding the message, and knowing the medium you're using.
Yes.
Right? So audiences, you need to understand who you're speaking to. And one of the first things we talked about in today's webinar was when you were going and you did your research, you did your homework on the company. That's understanding your audience. You need to know who you are talking to.
Yes, and the other thing is, I spoke free. Why? Because my goal was I wanted to earn $1 million, and I gave myself 5 years. But here's what I discovered. When you offer your services free, I use it also for rehearsing, for challenging, for learning, for fine-tuning and tweaking my speech, all right, practicing on them. But then in addition to that, if you're halfway decent, a minimum of 35% of the people in the audience will buy your products. I had 4 cassette tapes, Getting Unstuck, Keys to Self-Motivation, The Power of a Larger Vision, and You Gotta Be Hungry, with a rubber band around them. And I gave free speeches, and the first year I made just over $100,000 giving free speeches.
Wow.
Because it was $10 a piece. And so and I read this book, it said, if you want to become a millionaire, it said, get a product that's worth, let's say, $10. All you have to do is sell 100,000 copies of it. I said, okay. So then I say, what if I have 2 or 3 or 4? Now all I have to sell
did the math, yeah.
25,000, all right? So that was my goal. And so the first time I made $1 million, just selling a product of $40 going from city to city, it was $1,642,000, giving a free message and offering something at the back of the room that had value for the audience.
That's powerful. Another thing you mentioned earlier, which I don't want to kind of gloss over either, is you said you practiced on these free gigs.
Yes.
Every single one of these opportunities of these engagements are opportunities. You would not want to rehearse new material on $1 million contract.
No. But also finding out what the customer needs. I had one of the largest contracts I had with a major pharmaceutical company. They had a campaign called the Danger Zone. And I'd already given my presentation, but I wanted to see what was going to come after me. It was some time before the driver came to pick me up. And I said, what is this about? They said, well, we want to teach doctors how to communicate with their patients to increase their taking of their hypertension medication. And if they don't take it, they could die, have a stroke. I said, do you have hypertension? And the marketing director said, yes. I said, why do you take your medication? He said, I want to live. I said, then why call it the Danger Zone? This is a fear-based campaign. Call it the Success Zone. He said, that makes a sense. That makes a lot of sense. Now here's something else. Absolute faith. I want you to write that down. He asked me, can you train doctors? I said, absolutely. Okay, I didn't have a clue. I earned in 1 month, Monday through Thursday, speaking for 1 hour to doctors in over 35 cities across the United States, including Sweden. I earned $640,000.
Wow.
You know, the average person only earned $240,000 in their lifetime.
That's the power of saying yes first and finding a way.
Isn't that right? You had to figure it out. I believe leap and grow your wings on the way down.
That's right. That's a lesson from nature.
Yes.
Yeah, so we gotta speed things up. We're running out of time here, guys, and we told you we wouldn't keep you too long. So let's jump to the next point, the Dream 100. A lot of people are struggling to secure engagements because they're trying to target everyone. You ask somebody, well, what does your ideal client have? And they say breath.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, some clients have bad breath, and you don't want to work with everybody.
It could breath kick it like Bruce Lee.
So what you want to do is you want to narrow that focus, and maybe it's not 100. Maybe you have 10
That's
key
true.
organizations.
I started, I spoke for multi-level marketing organizations. Yeah. I used to sell Mary Kay. I used to be involved in Amway. I did them all. And what you find is you want to, if you're involved in speaking, people who need motivation. Well, who are the people that need motivation? People that are involved in sales, real estate, finance, multi-level marketing, people who are entrepreneurs and they've got to sell themselves because they're the storyteller of their business and they've got to sell their customers, people who involve in negotiating big deals. There are all kinds of things out here if you start thinking and collaborate with other individuals that you can come up with that can help you to begin to identify where the money is. Not only active money that you're going after and generating, but creating non-performance money, making money while you sleep.
Right, and that's actually perfect because our last topic that we want to talk about is building a funnel around your business.
Yes, that's your turf. I love that.
So let me ask you guys, who here's ever been to McDonald's? Anybody ever had McDonald's?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got a lot of no's, never, don't eat that stuff. Let me, whenever I ask an audience, I say, raise your hand if you've been to McDonald's. Everybody seems shy about admitting they've been to McDonald's, but they sell 75 hamburgers a second.
Wow.
That's over 2 billion hamburgers a year, and yet nobody's ever been to McDonald's.
Right. Have you ever had White Castles?
No, I haven't.
You never heard of that?
No.
Man, there's a little small, they're real small hamburgers. I used to eat around 10 of them. They're in limited places around the country, but they don't have White Castles in Canada.
No, they don't. No.
You will.
We're missing out.
I will send it to you overnight.
I appreciate that. So going back to McDonald's, when you go to McDonald's, it doesn't matter what you order. They're going to put you through a funnel. They're going to either ask if you want a larger fry. They're going to ask if you want a Coke. They're going to ask if you supersize. They're going to ask if you want an apple pie with that.
Yes.
McDonald's is built around, obviously it's got systems, but it's built around the funnel process, where it doesn't matter what you go in with or for. They're going to try and sell you 2, 3, 4, 5 other things. And that's what the business is built around. Speaking is the same thing. If you go out there and your only goal is to speak and you have nothing else in the back end, you're probably losing or leaving money on the table.
I did it for years. I didn't know. For my first 5 years of speaking, I left thousands of dollars on the table because I didn't know what you're sharing right now.
So what we try and encourage you guys to do is you don't just want a funnel around your speaking. You actually want everything in your life and your business to become a funnel. It has to have a purpose. So one of the first things we did is we create your website, your homepage, whatever you have set up. When someone visits you as an individual, as a brand, as a character, that's got to be a funnel. When they opt into your website, it's not just thanks for opting in. They've raised their hand. They said, I want to be in contact with you. So put them through a funnel, whether you're selling them something else in the back, whether you're beginning a email follow-up sequence that slowly builds that tribe and that nurturing relationship. You have to build those systems because later you can exploit those systems, ethically, of course, to provide them with value.
Yes, and in those systems you get a chance to ask questions continuously. You want to be on top of all the data dealing with your customers. You want to know what are the things that they desire. What is it that's stressing them out or keeping them up at night? Or what are the things that they're looking for that you're not providing right now? And what are the ways in which you can provide the services you're providing in a better way by keeping your pulse on your customers, learning the things that they want and finding and knowing more about them each and every day and meeting those needs. I remember a lady who became a dominant player in her industry that had been dominated by men, and they asked her in a news conference, how did you get here as a female? How were you able to be successful? And she said, I'll never forget, she said, it's not our intention to please our customers or to satisfy our customers. She said, our intention is to amaze them.
Wow.
Wow. And they asked, how'd you do that? By constantly asking them what they want, keeping their hand on the pulse of their audience.
That reminds me of a really powerful story from a lady in California. I forget the name, but there was this lady. She ran a multi-million-dollar jewelry store, and a gentleman asked him one day, like, this is high class, I don't know, California, New York, wherever it was. How did you get here, running in this gigantic organization? And she said, one day I asked my husband for $10, and he said no. And I went home that night, or I went to bed that night, and I said, never again. And that was her motivation, to just fight through whatever you got to get through to reach that goal.
Yes.
So going back to systems and funnels, everything needs to have a purpose, a process. When you go on stage, there needs to be a system, a follow-up system. There needs to be back-end products. The money is in your list. When you've built that list, now you've got value and an asset that you can grow your business around.
And that's the exciting part, because the growth in that instance, when you're providing good service, they're going to introduce you to their people, to their fan base, to their tribe, to their friends. It continues to grow, holding yourself to higher standards, always looking for ways in which you can amaze your customers, and using that system to follow up, to stay in touch with them, and to continue to grow them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's take a couple quick questions. So we've got one lady asking what social media should they use. You won't hear me say you have to use all of them. We can't all be like Gary Vaynerchuk, who's on every single social media platform out there. But I recommend finding which one your fans or your tribe or your audience is most active on. What you want to do is you want to follow attention, not tradition. Okay, tradition may say always use this venue, whether it be radio or magazines or whatever your industry or niche recommends, but you don't want to follow that tradition. You want to follow the attention. So if your tribe is on LinkedIn, then that's what I think you should be on. If your tribe is on Facebook, that's where you should be. So I don't agree with being everywhere. Maybe once you've got systems and staff that can handle a lot of that. But in the early stages, it's important to be very present in your strongest social media platform and just run with that one.
Yeah, and I think that once you find out where your customers are and you focus on that area, and I mean focus on it and milk it and be all in finding all of the creative, innovative ways in which you can impact them and create a desire for you, for your services, and for what it is that you provide.
That's fantastic. And one lady is following up with that. She's saying, I already post a lot, but I'm not getting any traction. Okay. Typically when that happens, it's one of two things. Okay. Number one, maybe what you're posting is just not what the audience is connecting with. You never want to assume what your audience wants. That's what we open up with today is learning what the audience wants. A lot of beginners or amateurs, they focus a lot on what they want to tell the client and not on what the client wants to hear. So sometimes you're just not posting stuff that resonates with your audience.
And if you're a speaker or an author, here's something I discovered. I was paying a guy $5,000 a month to write some motivational messages for me. And I was getting like 200 to 300 responses. And I said, you know what, let me try this. And I wrote one, and over 3,000 people responded. I discovered my audience knows my voice.
Right.
Your audience knows your voice. So don't underestimate yourself. You can do it. Become involved. Don't pass it off. Nobody's going to care more about your dream than you.
Absolutely.
Give it everything that you have.
Fantastic. So we got another question. How do I get booked more? There's the $1 million question. So give a couple quick tips before we wrap up on how they can land more speaking gigs.
Well, number one is that once you are speaking for someone, always say, you want to fry the fish while the grease is hot. I will ask it and I say, Al, do you know someone that need my services that you would refer me to? Or always ask for referrals, because whoever brought you in, they know somebody who will bring you in, who need your services and what it is you provide. The other thing is that's very important. I create a topic that I knew based upon the research I'd done by reading the cover of magazines or looking in the newspaper. I would create an opportunity for me to go on a talk show. I would call them and raise a topic that I feel that my audience would be interested in and do interviews. Why? Because that gives me free publicity. And so you want to look at what are the hot things that are out there and create opportunities for yourself to do some free advertising for yourself by being interviewed. And when they ask you questions, be prepared to make it long enough to cover the subject and short enough to be interesting.
Right. I want to add 2 quick points to that, and we'll move to the next one. Number one is you have to remember that anytime you are speaking somewhere, be proud of that. If you're going to a new city, you should send out a press release before you get there to as many stations as you can, as many news firms as you can, and essentially brag, but frame it in a way where you're adding value to whoever you're sending that to. Because, maybe in our own city, we get tired of sending the same press release over and over, but whenever you're going somewhere new, there should be a media kit that goes ahead of you. So that's really, really important. And I'm drawing a blank on what the next point was, but that.
Well, but the other piece is this. You'd be surprised when you call back and say, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to speak for your group, what kind of feedback that you get. And when they tell you what that feedback is, then at that time you want to remind them, listen, if you know someone else that can use this kind of service and what I provided for you, I want you to know that I'm available and I appreciate your recommendation. And so most people don't realize 95% of speaking engagements come about because of personal recommendation. Personal recommendation. Somebody who is credible to another individual say, I saw this guy, he calls himself Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. You ought to bring him in. He's got a funny laugh. I cannot tell you the number of engagements I got at $25,000 an engagement. I mean, there are a lot of people work a whole month to earn that, for 1 hour. Yeah. So it works if you work it.
And I just want to comment to one question. Somebody said they feel awkward or shy asking for that referral. Let me tell you something. That's a confidence thing. You've got to believe in your purpose, in what you're doing, and if you're there because you bring value to your audience and to the crowd and to the company that's bringing you in, there's no issues with asking for that referral. Stand strong and go for it.
Some people might say, well, you are Les Brown. Trust me on this. I just thought out like this. I feel like the farmer, that guy came and he was on a wagon and looked and said, man, what an incredible crop of vegetables and all of the fruits and everything that you have here. He said, God has really blessed you. And the farmer looked at this guy and he wiped the sweat off his brow. He said, yeah, but you should have seen it when he had it all to himself. And so the point is this: you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great and be willing to put in the work and never stop working. You can always better your best.
That's fantastic. I love that story. I just saw one last question we'll take, and then we'll move on, because it's so fitting. Somebody just mentioned we talked a lot about funnels and systems and all that, and they said, well, we're not technical. How do we do it? And that's a great question. We'll end with that one. Sorry, guys, because Les and I have decided to do something we've never done before.
Yes.
We've focused a lot on building our own systems and our own funnels and whatnot. And we train speakers to become phenomenal speakers themselves. But up until now, the technical side has been left for their own to figure out.
Right. And I'm in this place where you learn, you earn, you pass it on. So share with them what we're going to pass on to them.
So I got my notes here so I don't mess up what we're going to offer, because we've never done this before.
Yes.
This is something that we just thought of moments before we went live. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a select few of you guys, and we're going to build your entire funnel behind. And not only the funnel, but we're going to build the coaching system and the digital resources so that you can have a stream of income and build a Parthenon that's not going to collapse because you've only got one revenue stream.
Yes.
So let's go right into the details. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build a hero page. Basically, that's the main page you're going to send someone. You're out scouting for engagement. Somebody says, well, can you send me some material or some literature on your, or they just go and they Google, who the heck is this guy?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to land on this funnel, okay? You know, they used to say back in the day, you need a website, you need a website, you need a website.
Yes.
But what's happened is most websites are just tombstones now.
Right.
They go there and they're not action oriented, they're not sales driven, and they basically do nothing but hog a spot on the World Wide Web.
Yes.
We don't do it that way. We build a funnel that's basically a sales letter for you, so that by the time the consumer or the client or where the host or whoever lands on that, and by the time they're at the end of that hero page, they're sold. They want you. They're watering at the mouth. They want to call you and hire and bring you in. So that's number one. We're going to build that for them.
And that's going to be very, very helpful for you.
Absolutely. And the next thing is
and
that
taking all the guesswork out of it, so you can do what it is you do. Stay in your lane,
right,
and pass this off to us because we master this.
Right, and that's actually a very important point. Staying in your wheelhouse, right? What's in your wheelhouse? What are you specialized at? It would be wrong of our company for me to say, Les, I need you to build this funnel for me, because that's not his wheelhouse.
Right.
His wheelhouse is being on stage doing these types of events. We have staff, we have a team that does that because that's their wheelhouse, right? We don't expect Les to go out and start setting up Facebook advertisement campaigns and stuff. There's people that are professionals at that. And if you're, a speaker and being on stage is what's in your wheelhouse, that's great. Leave it to us. We have people that will build this funnel for you, and it'll be fantastic. So not only is there going to be a hero page, there's going to be an opt-in. Okay, that's where they say, yes, I'm lifting my hand. I want to engage with you or your company. The next stage, so now we put them in the funnel, is we're actually going to build an entire virtual coaching program on the back end. Mm-hmm. Not an over-the-phone coaching where it takes a lot of your time. This is going to be pre-recorded content, and what happens is that allows you to build recurring income. How valuable is recurring income in your business?
Wow, it is major. At this stage of my life, at 74, and I know I don't look it, I can tell you, I love non-performance income. I mean to tell you, when those checks start coming in, you'll find yourself speaking in unknown tongues.
And there's only, like we said earlier, there's only so much time that you have available, and you can only be on stage so much. So being able to wake up every morning and see your PayPal account or your Stripe account or whatnot, it just keeps going up and up.
Yes.
There's a special feeling for that.
It is. But you know what's so rewarding to me? And I know that a lot of the industry has been hijacked by people who speak to sell. But when I got involved in this, I wanted to change lives because somebody changed my life.
Right.
And I believe that when you can be involved in something that you can change people's lives, gives your life a sense of meaning and purpose. Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. When you can change lives and build wealth too, and leave a legacy for your children too, it doesn't get any better than that.
Absolutely. And we're going to take it a step further. Okay, so in every group, and we didn't even talk about this, but in every group of people, your clients, for example, there are those who will buy anything you have to offer, no matter what the ticket, and then there's those who will buy, the lower end stuff, and then there's some that won't buy at all. Right. So that coaching program is a lower ticket item to get the bulk, but we're also going to help you build an upsell, which is a high ticket coaching. Those are for those who say, I have a $10,000 offer, I'll take it. No matter what it is, they'll take it. And those are the ones that you really want to care for. And that's going to be an in-person program, but we'll help orchestrate that entire process and build a funnel so that when they go through your funnel, it filters out those who want the low-end stuff, they'll take that. Those who want to keep going, and they get the high-end stuff.
Yes. So these programs are designed with you in mind. Our team is committed to providing all of the things that you need, the systems, the structure, the processes, and how to execute them, and be able to build a business above and beyond you so that you literally can be a part of a system that does not need you, that you just monitor it, but it works in spite of you in many cases, like in my case. All right.
And maybe one day we'll have them on this side of the camera doing the same thing.
That would be exciting.
Yeah, and the last thing we're gonna build, and I got two more things. I got a bonus for you afterwards. is we're going to actually help you build a 6 email follow-up system. So once they opt into your website, you start building that, you start nurturing that relationship. There's nothing worse than me raising my hand, opting into a website saying, I want to hear from you. And then nobody follows up with me.
Yeah, and I had that for years. And so this is going to be very, very good for you. All of these things are going to help you grow exponentially. I can tell you, share with you what I've learned from learning from Al and his systematic way of putting things together, that this is your time. If you're ready to go to that next level, if you're ready to soar, if you're ready to take your message, your book, your business, your skill set to that next level. These are things I wish I had in 1980 when I started out. I wish, but they weren't around,
Right.
you know, and so now they are.
And the beauty of this is it's ongoing residual income that's going to keep coming in. Once you set the process up, it's done. So this process here, without the bonus we're going to talk about in a minute, is going to be $1,797. Now that may seem like a fair chunk of money, and you know what it is. We're not knocking that. But what we know is we know the power of what we're building, and that's going to be chump change for you once the system is sending checks in day after day after day of residual income once the asset is built.
When you think about stepping into a multi-billion-dollar industry, that's peanuts. I'll never forget when I was talking to a guy named Ed Foreman. I heard him speak, and I said, I'd like to do what you do. And he told me that for a weekend, it would cost me $2,600. And I said, man, I can't afford to do that. And he said, then you can't afford not to do it.
Right, that's powerful.
Wow. And I was so determined to be there. I went there on a Greyhound bus. My mother fixed for me some marinated frog legs. On the bus, they called me Frog Man. I was exchanging frog legs for pork chop sandwiches and chicken sandwiches and collard greens and cabbage and cornbread. And I'll never forget, from that time to this time, I've spoken. The Georgia Dome is gone, but you can see me on YouTube speaking to over 80,000 people. From that time to this time, I've spoken over 51 countries. From that time to this time, I've earned millions of dollars doing what I love to do, changing lives, and been able to build a comfortable career and been able to leave something for my children. I wish for you your willingness to see yourself as being worthy. And I'll never forget another thing he said. He said, you can't come up with $2,600? I said, no. He said, that's not true. I said, come on, man. I just resigned from the Ohio legislature. I'm back here to take care of my mother. And he said, I understand. He said, well, may I ask you a question? I said, yes. If I can get you a McDonald's franchise for $2,600, and I gave you 24 hours to come up with the money, can you do it? And I said, absolutely. But you just told me you couldn't. I said, what, a McDonald's franchise? And he said, well, if I had a choice between that and you, I would invest in you. He said, the reason that you said yes, because you believe that will make a profit for you. The truth of the matter will take you 5 years to make your first dime. He said, but I can earn the money that I invest in you 10 times over this year because this is who you are. You love to help people. And they said, I encourage you to believe in yourself as much as I believe in you and understand that what you have is greater than what McDonald's has.
Yeah, and the beauty of this with the funnel and everything is we're, in a sense, duplicating a system, a systematic approach to business, but we're shortening that time substantially, where as soon as this is up and running, you can start making real money.
Yeah. I want to say this to you. This came to me. The world is as it is, not because a few people are divisive or hateful or negative. The world is as it is because too many people are silent. You have a voice. You can make a difference. And if you want to make a difference, make impact, and create an incredible lifestyle. If you like to fly first class like me, stay in 5-star hotels and have somebody else pay for it, whatever, trust me, it's a wonderful thing. You have something special. You have greatness in you.
Oh, we're not done yet though, Lester. You're cutting off too early. Mark is asking, you forgot about the bonus special.
Oh yes, tell me about the bonus. Yes.
Okay, so what we've done is we put together a special bonus program because we understand the value of having an endorsement, having somebody like Les step forward and saying, I believe in you. Okay, so in addition to all the funnel creation and building all the systems, what we're going to do for only a select few people is we're going to have Les personally endorse your coaching program. Yes. And he's going to create a video that's going to go right on the homepage of your program, recommending your program to your clients and whoever you bring to that page. That alone, man, if you could put a number on that, is absolutely insane.
Endorsement gives you instant credibility.
Absolutely.
I could have gotten here faster if Zig Ziglar, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Wayne Dyer, Robert Schuller, those guys, if they had endorsed me, I could have gotten here faster.
Right.
And they didn't decide not to do it because they didn't like me. They love me, but they saw me as competition. Well, I think there's enough for everybody.
Right.
Okay. So I want to leverage my name and reputation and my audience to people that are hungry, people who feel that there's a calling on your life to change lives.
Absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll put everything below this video. There'll be a link to register, Just click that and it'll take you through it. We are probably going to put together a payment program, just a smaller one. You know, like everyone, we don't like to drag these things out. We'd rather get you done and set up ASAP. So you can start making money right away. So just click the link below and we'll get you set up, but only for a few select people. Yes. So anyhow, it was a lot of fun having you guys. Sorry guys, no more questions. Now we're gonna have to wrap it up. We've actually got another webinar we're already late for. Yeah.
So listen, here's the thought. Always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded.
There we go. This is Al.
And Les.
Have a great day, guys. Take care.